your mother.
She's a beautiful woman.
Okay. All right, so guys, welcome back to the channel here, and don't know why I'm here.
Nobody does. Nobody knows why
All
they're
right,
here.
good night. See you guys later. I'm leaving.
Nobody does.
I just gotta say, I apologize. It's Breen's a bad influence on Pixel. Pixel's getting worse and worse every time we do this.
That's all a matter of perspective. I think my boy's doing fine.
Thank you.
He drove Zach off.
Well, I had to kill him off. I was doing the world. I was doing the world a favor. One less racist in the world.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm all for less racist, but still, that's a bad joke. All right. So, if you haven't guessed, we're going back to 1966 to relive.
We had to kick Zach out of this clan because they're not kicking him out of the other one.
We're going back to Breed's childhood, 1966, when this issue came out.
When I was a boy.
When he was a boy.
He still hasn't grown up. We're interesting fact about this cover. I was reading up about this. Apparently, Stan didn't like the original cover that John Heck drew, so he wanted to get Captain America that was drawn by Kirby. So he looked for that, and I guess they just threw that Captain America into the cover. Under my recollection.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. All I can think of. Wait, who did you say did this cover?
It was John Heck. But they wanted a Kirby-esque look for a Captain America, so they went back and grabbed it from a previous cover.
Oh. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It does look kind of just spliced on. Why is he deflecting the laser beam at that angle? It's kind of silly. But I'm actually just thinking about how the inking looks.
Oh, they scored again.
Yeah, because according to Roy Thomas, they said that when John Heck was doing the cover, and Stan Lee didn't like the appearance of Captain America. So he got Sol Brodsky to search for some old Jack Kirby photo stats of Cap that looked good on the cover and put it there. So that's why it's kind of out of place there.
Yeah, that's great that he's blocking that as he falls to his death.
I know.
I'm going to save the world.
Things we could have asked Stan for 100.
Bye, Cap.
Now watching this, the extra point.
You know what's more interesting than talking about comic books? Watching Breen watch football.
Actually, me watching you watch Breen watch football.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Marano, watch us watch you watch.
Breen is watching you watch me watch Breen watch football. This is far too much watching.
Now you're watching me watching them watching me watch basketball.
What the fuck? So yes, we're going ahead. We're thrown into a story. So it's not starting; it's already started. So,
yeah,
but when we get to this point,
started in the issue before this. Damn it, Janet! You're the cause for all this other mess again. She got kidnapped by the living laser, who turns out to be the former lover of Clint's sister.
That's just somebody named Barton.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah, because they didn't reveal Clint's name until Avengers 63.
That's confusing because I saw like Lucy Barton, whatever her name is, and I was like, what? It's okay. So I guess there's no relation.
Yeah, so it just wants you to think it, even though it didn't want you to think it, but now you're thinking it, aren't you?
Because you knew when you were reading that they were going to name Hawkeye Clint Barton 2.5 years later.
Exactly. You knew.
So this is now. If you pay attention to this, he's like, "Oh, my shield! It's our last hope." For those who read Avengers issue number 8, we learned that basically his Cap's shield is made out of basically described as steel. In this, it's referred to, I believe they called it just a special alloy. Yeah, you know.
The earlier blaster removed
Yeah.
all of the special alloy. Oh, I do not like that.
But later on, it's revealed that his shield's actually made of adamantium, the strongest metal on Earth.
That's right.
So,
I love how the Z and the S are at such an angle that you can just go ahead and look fat right there, on an even level.
Okay. So this guy kind of cool here because he calls him Mr. Fantastic with a different spelling. I don't know if that was a mistake or on purpose, because Mr. Fantastic is with Mister, but as he refers to Cap as being Mr. So I don't know if that was a glove.
Well, it took up less space in the panel.
Yeah, let's say that too.
Yeah.
When Roy Thomas is writing something, you need to conserve space anywhere you can.
Yeah.
So Cap's shield is disintegrated here.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Remember that.
Yes.
Keep that in mind.
And at this point, for those who don't remember this, Goliath was basically stuck in his Hank was stuck in his form because he's afraid if he went shrunk down, he might kill himself. So he had, I believe, Bill Foster. Who helping out the Avengers.
And Bill Foster, who went on to be
the next Goliath.
Black Goliath, then Giant Man, then back to
then
Goliath,
dead.
and then dead.
Yes.
All roads lead to death.
So I gotta say,
you are rather morose this evening.
So I gotta ask: was Hank and Janet a thing at this time, or are they separated?
Okay, no, they were a thing.
Okay, so he's not just a simp.
No, they were in love. They ended up getting married in issue 60.
Okay, later. Okay.
So this is about 2 years from the time this was published. So in Marvel time, a few months later.
So when's he going to start beating her?
So at the last minute, Goliath basically says, "Oh yeah, the Kool-Aid man."
Wait. Right, you are, little buddies. It's wall smashing time. I just don't see that being as catchy as.
I mean, the guy had a gun later on in West Coast Avengers. You wonder why he's saying stuff like this and dressing like that costume. At this point, I guess a lot of people are pointing out that I guess Hank has had too many costumes.
That's right, Professor Pym.
I'm not sure what number of this is for Goliath. So I know he had his Ant-Man before this, but I think it's like a second costume.
Well,
right?
he was involved with a fashion designer, so she probably just kept making him new ones.
She dressed him all the time. No wonder he went crazy. All right, but I love he says like I'm not a biochemistry, chemist, but I'll let's push this button lever here. So.
Yes, it's right where the sign says "Turn off deadly lasers."
No, that's right. It's pointing it out for him.
That's right.
Yeah. So then he gets angry. And he's just his toxic masculinity comes out, and he's like, "You let him go with Jan. I should just let you guys die." He's calling him let you washouts roast. Calling Captain America a washout. He was frozen in a block of ice and survived. What have you done?
Well, when you thaw, he was pretty washed out.
He was
because he was wet. Because ice melts.
I apologize. Pixel has been smoking the reefer before he joined us tonight.
No, that was a shit call.
Medicinal herb.
You heard? Yeah, Breen does not agree. He thinks that's a shit call.
All right, and then of course we learn, on this page here, basically that Tony Stark pretty much provides them with everything at the mansion, all their little gizmos, and not even those. Tony's all his fancy toys can locate Jan.
Well, we already know that Tony provides everything. They just felt the need to remind us every issue.
Right. Like Maranya.
Why not?
This is.
I know, right? More than I ever wanted.
You don't want Pixel ASMR, really?
This show is a fingers. we don't need the ASMR. There you go. And so Jan is actually drawn pretty good in this. This is before she got her dyke haircut.
We're,
Really short.
It's Van Dyne.
Oh my bad.
Van Dyke would be that cool little goatee thing.
No.
No.
I gotta say though, early drawing here. This is heck. Drawing her pretty stacked there.
Okay, for anybody that's going to be watching this later that gives a shit what's actually going on in the book, there's a country called Costa Verde, and Living Laser has teamed up with some revolutionaries that want to overthrow the government. So he sells his services to help accomplish that. The Avengers have gotten involved, and we find out that the Living Laser again was the ex-boyfriend of a friend of Jan's, but now has transferred all his feelings to her. Now you're caught up.
Yes, and there you are, and that's pretty much what it is.
Basically reveals to her that basically I love you and all that stuff, and she's like, all right, okay. And it's like I said, it's kind of weird because I guess they say because they were here, they talk about how I love the little boxes Stan does here to let you know what's going on. Like the previous issue, apparently that because he's Arthur Parks, saw our last issue, but we didn't. But Jan doesn't know that. So I mean, basically, what Brian said, basically, Stan tells you all the time. Near the little.
That's not what he said. He was saying it was Brian saying he was saying what actually happens in this issue.
Yeah.
Because listen, it's a big deal. It's a big deal because it's Roy Thomas's. Like it is his first scripting. This book.
He does the dialogue pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like I said, he's not in full control of this, basically.
Which is probably why it's honestly okay. I think this book, when I was reading through it, all I could think of is, okay, is this the next page? Is that the last one? No, it's still going. Because it's not. Look at those fingers.
Actually, like I said, I enjoyed this early.
And that was the panel where Pixel became sold on the issue.
I take it all back. Fantastic issue. Because representation. Okay.
This is actually because for those who don't know, Stan's actually the one who conceived the plot. Is that the text of dialogue was done by Roy Thomas. Overall, like I love. He's just shooting him down with lasers. I first had a laser gun. No, he just has gauntlets that shoot lasers, pretty much. Kind of like what's his name? Couchman. The Shocker, but instead he shoots lasers.
And this guy's got a cigar that just suspends in midair when he's talking.
I think he's kind of scared. He just started yelling, and it fell out of his mouth. Still lit and looking silver.
No, I guess a fairly decent plot for. I mean, gotta remember this is the first 5 years of Marvel.
Yes.
So I mean, it's
world domination. Was the thing. People were scientists wanted to sell your for money. He says And
there was a lot of this shit going on in
the world.
South American countries and whatnot. So it was kind of a timely plot that might seem kind of maybe a little bit out of place in 2022, but.
Villain,
But also, there are things that what I liked about this was the Avengers. They're not unlike the Justice League at the time. The Avengers weren't all sitting around singing "Kumbaya." By this point, Hawkeye had become respectful of Captain America. Cap had finally won him over.
Yeah,
because in the early issues, Hawkeye had no use for him or any respect for. But Clint, at the time, Hawkeye and Hank rarely saw eye to eye. And so I said, you see that play out in these pages.
Yeah.
That they don't, like I said, they acted more human than DC heroes. And that's what made Marvel so, cool to read in those old days.
Yeah, I like the fact that Hawkeye is pretty much very much got a lot of sass.
Here's the thing. Again, in case there's any newer comic book readers checking this out for the first time, Hawkeye used to be a man. I know that's hard to believe if your introduction to Hawkeye was Matt Fraction's version and everything that's come after. But Hawkeye was truly, for years, the heart and soul of the Avengers. Anytime he was on the team, because he truly, he really is just a guy with arrows. But like I said, the way he was written. I mean, he was just a very three-dimensional, complex character who nobody that writes Marvel today has a clue how to bring out.
And I like that because he was very confident in himself, but he had enough sense to respect Captain America. But like I said, he butted heads with Hank, and I said if he didn't, though, if he just got along with everybody, it wouldn't feel human. It would just feel kind of like happy-go-lucky. And you kind of want a sense that because just like people have disagreements how to go away things, him coming back from being a criminal and being on a team, obviously there's a resentment from Hank probably.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would people disagree? Nobody disagrees. Everybody agrees on the same things. You're crazy.
If you read a DC comic from 1961, 62, and then read the same comic in 66 or 67, there's zero character growth. The Avengers, Marvel Comics did develop the characters, and that's another thing that set them apart from DC, which is why they appealed to older readers and why they just slowly eroded at DC sales leads until they finally just passed them up and never looked back again.
I gotta ask though, did his quiver change colors? And was it always the whole time? I thought it was a different color at the beginning of the episode, or that episode of the issue.
I don't know, but we're far enough along in the story. Have you caught the mistake yet?
Yeah, yes. Pixel kind of when he went past it too fast. Back at the mansion, Tony suddenly had a shield out of thin air. According to basically what I've read about this, the continuity editor is the fact that the editors explain in I guess the next issue's letters page, one of the future letters pages, because they answer the question saying that Cap was using a temporary shield, and then he basically was able to get his. That's why it disintegrated. So he's like his real shield was here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because remember,
that makes sense. Because that could have happened in issue 34.
Yeah,
I don't know why he didn't have the real shield with him, but
I said Tony has a bunch of shields maybe for him. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they had Tony actually create him a shield later on, because
he's done that a couple times in Marvel history. But okay, because that seemed like an awfully glaring error for Marvel to make. So I guess it makes sense that there's an explanation.
I guess that was their explanation, but I don't know what you buy. I guess it's just like I think they goofed and they.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and read 34 to see if there's.
Yeah, I think it because this is supposed to like
come on.
So anyway, Living Laser was basically he built the weapons for the guys to take over the country, and they basically said, "I'll build this for you, and I'm the only one who knows how to do this, build this cannon. But in return, once you take over, as you have to give me $10 million. It was $10 million, or I think it was $10 million, right?
Yeah, $10 million was his price.
Yeah, and the one dude's like, well, he's like, telling the guy, he's second man, he's like, you can't do that, it's like, well, he's like, relax, 10 million is hardly anything. You know how much money we'll make just being in charge of everything, and he's like, besides, once he builds the laser, we're gonna kill him anyway, But of course, because Janet is basically about to get killed. We see that Hank's able to basically shrink himself down inside. It's downside. He takes a risk, and he goes inside the shield, or not the shield, but the cannon. And just when the cannon's going to explode, he's able to jump out at the last minute. If he gets scolded later by Jan, but overall, though, it's cool to see this. Basically, like Like they basically tried when they first arrived on their airplane, and it was shot down. But nobody knew. Well, I don't know if it was called the Quinjet at that time, but
basically what it is. I
love the fact they said that these guys are idiots and they probably don't realize that it's actually our ship turns into a submarine. That's what you saw them earlier before swimming out of this sub. I thought that was kind of cool. And of course, here we could. The big guy is like, it's like, you charge only to your death, fools. You bring your giant frame and it's not bulletproof. He's like, how do you know that, Charlie? You haven't hit me yet. Because he's constantly throwing the guys in front of the bullets.
Gotta love some murder.
But I gotta say, every time I see freaking Living Laser, I'm thinking Ocean Master. That freaking headdress on.
Really? Because I just keep thinking of, what did we read? West Coast Avengers. What was his name? Domitus, something like that.
Dominatrix? I don't know. Dominator?
Not Dominatrix. Jeez.
I don't know.
Dominus, yes.
I don't know.
I think from what I remember, they look pretty much the same, just different color palette.
So in order to basically escape the laser, they jump in the water, and he says, like,
kill themselves.
I love how he's like, their only chances ahead for the drink and regroup for another attack, and like, pardon, I love you like a brother, but I'm trying to read that, Pixel.
Well, it didn't. Is this a reading now?
I'm highlighting the moments that I like, okay? Maybe if you took direction.
Got to keep my body tense, rigid, so that I'll make a big a splash as possible. Otherwise, Cap and Hawkeye don't have a prayer. Now, if only they can dodge those jagged rocks and not land on me, because that would hurt like hell.
I love how Hawkeye basically yells at him. He says, like, he's like, dude, I can think for myself. I know what you're trying to do here. You don't explain it to me. Like, even as they're like plunging to their death, they're like, Hawkeye's still arguing with them. And of course, because of this, they're in the murky water, they're shooting. They're like, hey, let's shoot the water. Maybe we'll hit them. And we know the bullets do change trajectory as soon as you hit the water. So basically, they think they're all dead. Of course, the Avengers survived because they dove next to basically the Hank in his giant form. But overall, like you said, we see here, it's like basically he's like, him just trying to like, hey, there's no longer anyone to come between us. I'm thinking, like, the Living Laser, is there something wrong with him in the head for the previous issue? I mean, I guess he's just randomly in love with her, or just because he's obsessed because he saw her? Is he just like one of those obsessed weirdos?
I don't know, because I'd be honest, I'd forgotten about this particular plot because the Whirlwind, another villain from that era, was secretly Jan's chauffeur, and he had a thing for her.
Yeah, everybody's got a thing for
her. And
apparently, even Magneto.
Yes.
Who are you? I don't even know your name.
My name is Arthur Parks.
Arthur Parks.
Call
He's the man who... That's what you just said.
Call me AP for short.
He's the man who was once in love with Lucy Barton. No relation.
But Don Heck does draw her as a looker, though. That's what I mean. Certain artists are able to draw Jan actually looking pretty good. Other ones make her sound like Breen Reeds. Hello. Pretty rough.
Hello. My name.
I am always a dainty, delicate flower. Holy fuck.
So she rides her use her woman of the ways. If you really love me, you'll let me go so I can try and rescue my friends to stop you.
I take that back. They were showing this meathead missing a 29-yard field goal, but it was from earlier in the game, so we're still alive.
What's up, Garrick Taylor? Throwing hands.
Can you make me a soup?
All right. Next one. All right. I gotta say, though, I do love the art. I love all the designs for the weapons. That looks like a giant blob.
Yeah, I love the designs for the weapons. blob.
Well, the previous ones were okay, but you see them, and then you see it sitting there. It's like, why there's so many holes in there.
Let me put that back. Holy fuck! He missed another chip shot. Game's over. You're a complete loser.
Now, I guess some people were saying
Your
like,
girlfriend's gonna break up with you. You might as well hang yourself in your dorm.
It's another case of the viewers watching Bigman, watch me, watch Breen, watch sports.
Actually, no, I'm trying to talk about the comic book, and you guys are, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I've now, for those of you who've never read the original stuff, you're probably thinking, like, why is he? Oh, they're really like racist. They're making it draw him like a bandito and all that stuff. He's from South America.
He is a bandito.
Exactly. That's what I say. Point out. So I mean, I don't think they're really racist about that. It's how do you think people dress in South America? You know, back then, I'm pretty sure, like, you know, they have their own, you know, attire stuff, but
where did this come from, Vic?
No, because I've seen people comment about on this book here, you know, and leave comments. And like I said, when I was looking up the issue before, looking up the information about it. Some people had said they were kind of offended by this, and I was like, how are you offended by it? I mean, the only thing I'm offended by is the fact that his hands are so freaking huge now. Don Heck.
Wow, those are thing hands right there.
I know on the left. Especially the one holding the bow. Like I said,
it's like the one he works the most.
Like overall, like I said, like I love the banter, and then look, the masked man Bowen falls. Get him, and it's like I'm pretty sure he's gonna die if he falls with that rock coming towards him. And then there's basically a brawl. It is. Hawkeye is pretty much like dead now. After like 60 men, just like brawl with him.
After 60 men, you needed to finish that sentence.
now, when I saw Cap throwing his shield there, I wasn't paying attention to the word bubble, and I thought he had a giant crack in his shield. But
yeah, I feel what you're saying.
He's throwing a shield, and how it bounces back and forth, and it's like these guys would be decapitated. I don't.
You're not allowed to think that. They aren't allowed to put that in. This is approved by the comics code.
And that 6-shooter, if it falls on the ground, it's going to shoot someone in the gut. But don't worry, this guy's here. I got to say, though, they got to come up with some different colors for these guys' jackets. Yellow and purple and like orange and green.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem with their outfits. It's the colors. No one dresses like that. Tell me, do either one of you own a pair of bright purple pants?
And a bright purple sombrero?
Yes, to match the pants. But then you're going to wear a bright yellow jacket. Not a rain jacket, just a bright yellow jacket.
Without your shield, you are merely a man against many men. With super serum in you still.
Well, underneath that, he probably has a 1964 New York Yankees World Series champion shirt.
He left his Yankees hat.
And underneath that, he's got nothing. He's naked.
He's aiming at my shield so he won't hit him his countryman. Wait. If you're aiming at the shield, it's going to reflect and hit this countryman. Like, bullets reflect off of that, I guess, unless it's not adamantium or vibranium, whatever you call it. Okay, so basically after and then we get to see here, like, how many castles are in South America? Is there a lot?
It's just one big castle.
Well, there was a bunch
in early Marvel,
but those blobs that you like so much disintegrated a bunch of them.
Like I was reading Iron Man before too, like and they're like, there's always an evil villain that has a castle. I like they just go for castles. Janice still has no pupil color.
At least she's got hips.
Like I said, it'd be cool if they would have turned this into like the Captain America, like they did that stop animation they had for a while, the cartoon. Would have loved to see kind of something like this.
Guards, take the 3 of them to the tower, there to await my pleasure. It's so No, he's not dead yet, but he's gonna die soon. What?
Marania is saying, back in the day, I had a purple velvet hot pants, and in the 80s, I had a pair of purple designer jeans.
Were you a Mexican bandito?
And then she had green hair and white. Now they're carrying this guy who's like 3 times their size and probably their weight. And I gotta put him in the chain here and let's gotta hold him.
Well, it took about, how much do you think he weighs?
I'd say he's more than 300 pounds.
Well, I lifted a 300-pound thing, not alone, obviously. 300-pound vanity up the stairs just a few days ago, and nearly died like at least twice. But it would be possible. Just you need some strong men.
Yeah, but he's more.
I would have hired the banditos to do it for me. Oh.
But they did not own a telephone back then.
That was the issue, not the purple pants.
All right, so basically
they were criminals.
Now this is what I was talking about before. We're at the scene here now where Hank's basically he's like, in order to basically save everybody, he has to shrink himself down, and because before he was told if he did it though, there's a chance he would prove fatal to him. He would just die. I don't know if you could just shrink away and like Dr. Doom, or you would just have a heart attack. But there you go. All right, so he's like, yeah, he shrinks down, gets out of the chain, and somehow the chain doesn't crush him. Yeah.
Oh look, see, no, he has the strength still,
to hold the chain.
Yeah.
Now, my other question is, where are the other Avengers?
Passed out. They got them all.
No. I'm saying besides Cap and Hawk.
Oh, they don't exist.
Hawkeye.
Well, okay. At the end of the issue, when Steve says "you," that's the Scarlet Witch returning, and Quicksilver's gotten involved with something. So
Tony at this time was part of the Avengers.
No. They quick history lesson. Stan Lee didn't think that, in the interest of continuity, that he didn't like the idea of Thor, Iron Man. If you had your own title, he didn't want you in a team book. If that was, i.e. the Avengers. So, in issue 16, Thor and Iron Man and Captain America, not Captain America, Wasp and Ant-Man all left, because at the time Thor was in Journey into Mystery, Iron Man was in Tales of Suspense, and Ant-Man the Wasp, or Giant Man the Wasp, however they were writing him that month, was in Tales to Astonish. Now Captain America was in Tales of Suspense. They shifted his adventures to World War II so it wouldn't conflict with what he was doing in the Avengers. And right after they did that, they canceled the Giant Man series and replaced him with the Hulk. No, I'm sorry. They canceled, they canceled and replaced him with Submariner, and that's why Giant Man and the Wasp were the first ones to come back about 12 issues later.
And we get here.
The border while we still can.
What?
Andale, we must reach the border while we still can. Come on.
The
one guy has no shoes. He's running around with bare feet. The one that was yelling. I gotta say though, that guy's got some nice dreads there. He's got the pink. He's got the browns. He's like the Clint Eastwood of the group.
That's more like the Rawhide Kid.
Hey.
By the way, in case you're wondering, Carolina lost their basketball game too.
Wow.
What's basketball? I've never heard of that.
Well, that'd be a sport where North Carolina has lost more games to unranked opponents as the number one team in the country than anybody in college basketball history.
So, Bankman, you know that game where they kick around this one ball and they go ahead and score it into these large baskets?
FIFA?
That's basketball.
Wait, that's soccer, right?
No. He mentioned scoring. That eliminates soccer. By the way, apparently the United States and England kicked the ball around for about 3 hours to finish 0-0 or 0-0 or whatever the hell they call it in kickball.
I heard that was it India or not India, but it was Saudi Arabia, I think won.
Yeah, it's soccer, so I don't know.
I don't know either. So anyway, basically, just when the Avengers had everything unwrapped, the actual freedom fighters come in and explain basically it's like it's like hey it's like we don't care about your guy. The guy actually living laser. You can take what you want. He actually helped us. He's a hero. He overthrew the evil corrupt government, and it allowed us to actually fight back and win and get some more democracy for this country. Basically they wanted to. So yeah. And so like and basically says like yeah you can head on and Hawkeye is again with the jokes. Hawkeye is pretty much like the pixel of the group.
What?
Always cracking jokes. At least tonight it was.
I thought maybe he had freakishly long fingers.
How do you think he pulls his bow?
That's too much
when
information.
you put it like that, I don't want to know.
All right. So we have right here. So that's why you disappeared early today. It says like, so you carried a size reduction experiment with yourself as your own guinea pig. Hope you wouldn't have to try some shrinking, but luckily it all worked the best. Well, isn't that just lovely for you?
Lovely for you. That's right.
And here,
Because Jan, honey, that's not the shrinking I was talking about.
It's okay. Don't be Sue. Don't go to Namor.
Her eyes are black like a demon.
Those are eyes.
We also forgot to mention that Jan came into her inheritance in this issue. So this is when she turned 23, so she got her full inheritance.
So then here, and of course, at the time, Hawkeye had a thing for still her Black Widow, who had basically joined the Avengers or was hanging out, or at least
hanging out with the Avengers.
Yeah. They get back here. Sue tells, her friend,
Lucy Barton, no relation.
Or sorry, too many Fantastic Four stuff. Jan tells her, yeah, and Lucy's like, "That's cool. I'm already engaged to someone else. I don't really care."
She says, "I am glad, Jan. For even though I am engaged to, I can't read the rest of it because you changed it.
a little bitch. She keeps changing
someone else. I know that Arthur Parks was a good man.
Once.
Twice, 2 times a man.
Once, twice, 3 times a lady."
So that's our little mansion right there.
Meanwhile,
okay. So that's supposed to be the Avengers mansion, or is just Hank?
Or it might be the Hank and Sue. Or now I'm doing it. Hank and Jan place.
And that's Bill Foster.
Why does Bill Foster look like the gray gargoyle in that?
I don't know. The Pixel you skipped him pretty fast, like Zach was here.
Oh, I know Zach is watching.
It's him going, oh.
Hello,
I'm my big boy. And then I love the next panel.
It wouldn't be right to kill Franklin. He was a friend.
Roy writes women so mature and understanding.
I love this. So I was like, yeah, she's what do you mean I ran off the holiday spot? And he didn't take me along? How could he? He's like, now easy.
Oh, that's not good.
Basically, she's the Black Widow or Black.
Black Widow's a little
Black Wasp.
Yeah,
the same.
He's a trollop.
Yes. Yeah. And then as we get basically Cap, who never takes off his suit.
That's what he's saying. That he has no one. He has no life except.
I am ready to inner monologue.
I have no one except life. No life except behind the mask of the red, white, and blue Avenger. If only Tony was here, I could take a break.
Well, what happens is he leaves the team and he takes a job as a sparring partner to the heavyweight champion. And it just so happens someone has a radio on and we interrupt this sparring contest to tell you that the Avengers are in grave peril. So he just knocks the champ out and goes to rejoin the team.
Who can save them now? Who can save us?
Who can save this stream?
No one. It's too far gone. But yeah, that's the end. And Breen has already said this is where Scarlet Witch comes on in.
But is it the Scarlet Witch?
Yes.
Yes. That's what Breen said.
Because it was revealed later that she was an imposter, actually.
No. Not this time.
Not this time. That's another time.
And at this time, Wanda, got a little moist for Steve too.
Oh, that's a way to put it. That's a way to put it.
I know it sounds more realistic when I say Sue and Namor, but
okay, but yeah, like overall, what I said, I found this book okay. I didn't find it too spectacular. I didn't think it was bad, obviously, but it's just okay. It's all right. It when we were talking about Defenders last week, that was fantastic. That book was just one of those perfect issues. But here, it's just run of the mill until we get somewhere we care about.
Well, maybe Venkman and I already care.
Do you care?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We can't all exist at the whims of your likes and dislikes.
I'm just saying how I feel.
Nobody cares.
I have the talking stick.
Speaking of, have you seen the Crowder Avengers video?
I know.
If you go find that if it's still on YouTube, and you'll know why I brought that up at this time, because they have a talking conch shell. I have the talkie conch, and it's one of the funniest things you'll ever watch.
Well,
but, now, it's either way. I said, Roy wrote both of them, so that's. So, 1972 Roy Thomas, or 1971 Roy Thomas likes you better than 1966 Roy Thomas. Because you'd besmirched in 1966 Roy Thomas. Yeah.
It's not. He's not even like it's. He just did the scripting. We've said this. He didn't do the plotting at all. It is not his story.
He wrote the text and dialogue because
dialogue.
Stan came up with the base of the bones, and then basically Roy put a story to it.
No, it's the other way around. The story was made. The story was made, and he filled in the dialogue, and the dialogue is fine. There's a lot of it that's good. I don't know how I feel about Black Widow being. I want to go on vacation, Clint. I don't know how I feel about that. I do. I don't like that.
I want to point out. I want to point out that it fits because it's the '60s. Women were like that. And if you think it's sexist, then maybe you should try growing up in the '60s and explain why they were like that then.
But she's.
But you can't though. Obviously,
she's not that. That's what I expect from '60s Jan. '60s Jan absolutely was like that in many issues. She was not like that in this book.
Look, this was one of those. It just was to put a light touch on.
I understand.
Sacrifice the actual character for a panel to get a chuckle.
Yeah.
We were going to end on.
Yeah.
The.
Dun dun dun.
I already used the word once in this, but I said so we ended with Captain Morose.
Yeah, but no.
Like I said, it makes sense because that was a time. That's how she was written. Obviously,
it was the best of time.
As they got further
It was
in
the
the
worst
years.
of times.
Obviously,
Especially for Black Widow.
that's the thing, though. Her personality and everything would change depending on the writers.
Just a year ago, she was, "Take the bullet for me, Hawkeye. I'm far too important to be captured."
No, she's like, how dare you not take me on
You're
vacation?
Have a hairbrush.
I'm sure she was
Yeah,
probably
Now a vase.
You know, I'm pretty sure she was probably bored sitting there doing nothing.
Now a 65 Buick.
I don't know why she's Italian now.
As Jackson Roykirk says, it was the 60s, but Stan was from the 40s.
Because I can't roll my lip when I'm laughing.
It's okay.
Now with Dracula, we've gone to Romania.
She does not go blah, blah, blah.
I don't say blah, blah, blah.
They made Captain America the Star-Spangled Hamlet.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
All right, the question is, what's your review next? Do you guys have a book in the audience?
Actually, the question is, if you move to a cold weather climate pixel, could you find gloves?
Yes, I can.
You forget, he could just crochet his own finger gloves.
I warn myself.
That wasn't creepy at all.
I'm shrinking.
Sounds like a personal problem. I mean,
okay.
Where does the
listen?
Where does
I need to
Groot fight
take a
gloves?
moment. This is This is public service announcement. Marvel, fuck you. That's one. And actually, I'm going to use another fuck you because they have on their app, and that's how we're showing these books, showing that they've removed every single issue of the classic series Masters of Kung Fu. That is the book I've wanted to do a retrospective on because it is a fantastic book. It's a fantastic series, and Marvel has gotten rid of it for the stupidest of reasons. What is there problematic stuff in there? Absolutely, but that does not mean you erase history. That does not mean you erase.
According to whom?
My question is,
Lou or whatever the fuck his name is. You can't erase. Erasing history does not make the present better.
No.
It just increases the chances that you repeat it. Holy fuck.
That being said, naming the villain Fu Manchu.
And I
understand
I just like to point out. I want to point out real quickly. Thank you, Marvel, for getting rid of it. So I'll do that retrospective.
Here's the thing, man with four senses. Fu Manchu was a public domain character, and they made that his father. I mean, at the time, there was no one batted an eye.
Actually, he wasn't. He wasn't a public domain character. They bought the rights to the books with Fu Manchu because he was a successful character. I'm not saying that, but I understand that you had that, so you can understand why now it might be problematic. That's still no reason to get rid of it. And then he's gold, which is a little much sometimes, but it's still not a good reason. It would never be a good reason to get rid of a fantastic series like that.
Oh, they're not even selling it anymore.
I
mean, they're acting like that, and that's. I should have said historical fiction character instead of public domain. I got my things mixed up.
It's okay.
But this idea, but are you at all surprised, given the politically correct shit show that Marvel's become?
I am appalled. I'm not going to say I'm surprised. I'm just appalled because there are, those will shoot up in value. If I go to a convention, there is no doubt in my mind. If I see any, I'm grabbing them because those books need to be remembered. Those stories were worked on and told and loved by so many readers. It went on for 140 issues.
Actually, about 110 because it started in Special Marvel Edition issue 15,
Yeah, but
And
it only did that
finished
for like 3.
Well, no, and they continued the numbering, and it lasted until issue 125, so that's about 110.
So when
because the first 14 issues were reprints,
when
but there were 4 or 5 giant size and an annual on top of that,
Yeah.
so there's about 120 issues.
So
there is a single issue, and it's actually, I think, the first annual, and it has a story about him and his adopted brother, and that stuff is heart-wrenching. It's truly fantastic. And
all right, so getting back to my question, what are we doing next week instead of bitching about Kung Fu?
Those books were written by Steve Englehart and then Doug Mensch. I having a little trouble finding a racist there. Yeah, or a conservative.
It's
but when did it get pulled? Was this what back when the Shang-Chi guy was
just
recently.
The last couple of years?
Not couple, this last year.
Yeah, the groundswell started a couple years ago.
I'm asking, was
and this absolute fuck that plays him in the movie?
Yeah.
You know, he is so full of himself. He won't sign issues of Master of Kung Fu from that series. Why you'd want to ruin your copy by having that, hack, talent hack.
Thank you, Jackson. Yes. So I was just going to confirm that's when they pulled it.
Yeah.
Right when the movie came out. So
it wasn't when the movie came out, though.
It was when a guy opened his mouth.
I don't know if they'll quietly bring it back a few years from now, but
they better.
I don't think they will, because I think, as a society, we are just going so far in that direction.
I'm surprised they didn't reboot it, like the Mistress of Kung Fu.
Oh no! Well,
they're still writing
series, but it's not the same character. I mean, not even close.
No, they got rid of what made him special.
Now,
but
my question is, does that character owned by Marvel, or does that go back in the public domain? What is it?
It's owned by Marvel. Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
they don't own Fu Manchu.
But they don't. Yeah, and so when they lost the rights, he just became father and unnamed, and then just kind of disappeared.
Then
I don't know. I can see. I don't understand why Shang-Chi even made the movie, because I don't see normies really being interested in that.
Honestly, considering it wasn't a Shang-Chi movie. It was a movie about
Mystic China,
dopey guy that doesn't really know Kung Fu, and every woman around him is better.
Oh, I wouldn't even say that, because that's just that's not the problem with the movie. The problem with the movie is that they didn't know the character they were making.
All right, so what happens? You guys start complaining about Marvel. Ash shows up.
No, okay. But for next week, why don't we go ahead and do a crap.
Should we finally do an Iron Man retrospective to get Marani on here? I mean, or should we just say, we'll just go talk about another book?
Yeah, we'll talk about another book. Marani's about to get to reading. That's what she gets for the month.
Well, let's do a retrospective on every single character but Iron Man. We'll just keep going. Like I said, the whole Shang-Chi thing, I had no interest in the movie, the book. I mean, if it sat in my lap, I'd probably maybe read it.
The book was tremendous. The first half of it was, it probably was the most complex book Marvel did. Mm-hmm. And
it's what Breen was saying earlier about characters growing and having stories that go ahead and just build them up. Shang-Chi went through that, because he went through multiple stages in his life in just the first 40 issues. And it's astounding work. If you can get your hands on them, do it. As for next week, though, I think that maybe we should do a Spider-Man book.
I'm sorry, I just saw this.
Did you have a particular issue of Spider-Man in mind?
Have we covered any on this channel thus far that I'm not thinking about?
We have 2 issues.
What?
Okay. One is with the first appearance of Monica Rambeau.
Okay.
And the other one was with Roger Stern's story about the kid who was dying, I guess.
Yeah, kid who collected Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay, the kid who collects Spider-Man. Okay. Why don't we go ahead and do the how many? I can't remember how many issues it is. The original Clone Saga. Because
Well,
that one.
That
It's
might be.
144 through 149. A couple of giant sizes crossed over into it.
That's quite a few. But
Yeah, we could do issue 149 and just like touch on the stuff that led up to it.
I like that.
Or
I like that idea.
We could just review one more day and just bitch about it for an hour.
No, I don't like that. I want to talk about good books. There you go.
Only when it's Kung Fu, you get the bitch.
But yeah, no, that's what we'll do. Spider-Man 149. Next week.
Like I said, anybody in the chat have any suggestions? Not that we're picking all the time, because obviously you guys show up and watch this stuff.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You were going to say something.
Well, I was just gonna say it because I don't want us to I like to get the crowd involved in this. We're just if they want to, if you guys don't want to, that's fine too. We're glad that you're here. We're glad you get to hear Pix complain about Kung Fu. Brain talking about basketball and soccer and all the other cool sports he doesn't
There
watch.
are no sports. Sports are dead to me.
He says with the game on in the background.
But
when I was not quite a boy, we played against a softball team that one of the teams in our league was called You Ballless Wonders. Obviously, it was a dig at something.
Yep.
But it certainly fits whoever made the decision to pull the Master of Kung Fu.
Exactly. Yes. It all comes around to me complaining about Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu.
You can still get Zamfir, Master of the Pan Flute, but you can't get Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. Somehow that doesn't seem right.
Oh, it's not. It's not.
I mean,
We as a society.
We could always talk about Six from Sirius.
All right. No. Okay. 2 weeks from tonight, Iron Man 72.
All right.
Iron Man goes to the San Diego Comic-Con. Back when you could find comics at the San Diego Comic-Con. And it does have quite the amusing ending.
There we go. We want to thank you so much for watching the Geeky Puppet Show. We know you're lacking puppets, but look forward soon to a reading of some sort that will pop up in some time. There will be puppets there, and they will read you a fantastic story. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. If there's a book you're interested in us reviewing, then make sure to leave it down below. Check out the Ko-Fi if you can. It helps out the channel. Pay for the StreamYard, pay for the books, and it really just helps us out. But like we said, if you can't do that, just like and subscribe. It helps the channel. But that's it for now. We want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Yeah,
With viewers like you, anything is possible. Even bitching about Kung Fu.
68 cents a day. You can sponsor a pixel.
No, you can sponsor a finger.
I was going to say, it's like...
No, that would cost considerably more than 68 cents a day.